And we're
I didn't
generally,
know how much of a.
Call to order the January 27, 2020 Transportation Committee meeting. All members are present, and instead of a roll call of members, I'd like to, first of all, welcome my Vice Chair, Michael Mason. We also have Dal Wagasback, Dempsey Lambert, and John Cagnalotti, and Councilwoman Terry Cazzo sitting in tonight. So we've got some new members on the Transportation Committee, and I'm really excited about this upcoming year. We will have the invocation. I have not asked anybody to do the invocation. Would anybody like to do the invocation? It's Councilman Cagnalotti, and will be followed by the pledge.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this gathering. We ask your blessings on this committee and all the people of Ascension Parish. Guide us in what we do here tonight, conducting the people's business regarding transportation. Help us to do the right thing for all the people of Ascension Parish and not at all for ourselves. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If the public would like to comment, you have 3 minutes. Please bring a card up, and you'll be able to comment. Committee Chairman's report. I'd like to welcome our new parish president, Clint Quitmall, to our very first Transportation Committee meeting of 2020. This is a big year for transportation because we've done a lot with Move Ascension over the past, really, I think it's maybe 2.5 years or a little bit less than that. But we're finally getting to the point, I say finally, it's moving much quicker than most things, but we're getting to the point where we're about to get into construction for the next year. So it's a very exciting year for Move Ascension and the Transportation Committee. What a great time to be alive. Moving on to item number 5, acceptance of the minutes of the November 18th, 2019
Motion.
meeting.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Cagnalotti, a second by Councilwoman Cazzo. Any discussion? No objections? So moved. Moving on to item number 6, approval to go to full council for the LA 73 turn lanes at Oakland Drive, project number MA-18-03-B. Devin Russ.
How you doing? I'm Devin Russ. I'm the procurement project manager for the purchasing department. On December 18, 2019, the purchasing department received 5 bids for the LA 73 turn lanes at Oakland Drive. After review, the project engineer, Neil Schaefer Incorporated, and the Ascension Parish Transportation Department recommends accepting the lowest bid submitted by Boone Services LLC and to authorize the parish president to enter into any applicable agreement or contract for this project.
We have a motion by Councilman Lambert and a second by Councilwoman Cazzo. Have any questions? Any objections?
Just one question, Mr.
Yes, Councilman.
Utilities, they all relocated on this project?
Mr. Joy? So Oakland Drive.
Yes, they are.
Pretty sure that's correct.
Yeah, we generally wouldn't be at this point if they weren't, so that this
I
way
just wanted to make sure, I know they had a couple things going on, I just wanted to make sure that they was all relocated on it.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Any further questions? Any objections? None, so moved. Item number 7, approval to go to full council for the LA 73 at Henry Road intersection improvements, bid project number MA-18-04. Mr. Russ.
Yes, sir. On December 19, 2019, the purchasing department received 6 bids for the LA 73 at Henry Road intersection improvements. After review, the project engineer, GSA Consultant Engineering Incorporated, and the Ascension Parish Transportation Department recommends accepting the lowest responsive bid submitted by Courts Services Incorporated, and to authorize the parish president to enter into any applicable agreement or contract for this project.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Mason and a second by Councilwoman Cazzo. Any discussion? Yes, Councilman Cagnalotti.
Just a question, Joey or Tacey. Is that the same people doing the Pelican Point court?
I'm sorry, who was it?
Courts Construction.
Correct.
It's the same, okay, that's all.
Okay. Any further discussion? No? Any objections? None, so moved. Item number 8, approval to go to full council for the LA 73 turn lanes at Brown Road, project number MA-18-03-A. Mr. Russ, once again.
Yes, sir. On December 19, 2019, the purchasing department received 6 bids for the LA 73 turn lanes at Brown Road. After review, the project engineer, Near Schaefer Incorporated, and the Ascension Parish Transportation Department recommends accepting the lowest responsive bid submitted by Command Construction LLC, and to authorize the parish president to enter into any applicable agreement or contract for this project.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Casso, a second by Councilman Mason. Do we have any discussion? Any objections? None, so moved. Thank you very much, Mr. Russ. Item number 9, Department Report. Mr. Turo.
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to make one comment. Mr. Dempsey had mentioned about utility relocations. The first one, all the utilities were removed. But Jeff Burst with HNTV informed me we still have one utility that needs to coordinate on the other 2 projects. So that would be Oakland is cleared, but then Brown and Henry still have some utility relocation with one utility remaining to be done.
Great. Mr. Chairman,
Absolutely, yes, sir.
I mean, I just don't, I know they're gonna have work days, so many work days allowed and different things. I just want to make sure everything, no one is holding anyone from doing any work. So
Yeah,
that's-
whenever, the time frame now, now that we have approval, this will go to full council. Then we'll have contracts signed, and hopefully in that time period, and I'm going to defer to Jeff on that, if that's going to kind of give us time, that utility, time to coordinate and get out of the way before the pre-construction meeting and the notice to proceed.
Sure.
Now, whenever we have the pre-construction meeting, that will definitely be a topic of discussion. We will talk to the contractor and give him the full layout of whatever's there. So if say there is a utility that needs a few more days to get it done, so that there is no delays in construction, we'll coordinate with them and issue the notice to proceed accordingly.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Mr. Turo, you can go on with the department report. Thank you.
All right. Part of your handouts has to do with Move Ascension. As Chairman Lawler had mentioned, this is a great time to get started in the new year in that we have projects ready for construction. I know the parish has gone through the pains of paying for things that you don't see on the roadway. But a lot of that is behind us. In a lot of these projects, the utilities, first thing is the plans getting put together. That's been accomplished in a lot of cases. Property has been negotiated, purchased, and plans are put together. So all of that and then some goes into the time where you can actually have construction of a project. So what we have now at the very first of the year is 2 projects that will start construction in, one is in February and the other one is early March. So the, putting that down. The notice to proceed has been established on 2 of the projects, which is the LA 930 clearing and grubbing project and on the connector road for Ashland to St. Landry. The contract time for the 930 project, I want to say, is 90 days, and the one for the connector road is 120 days. So in 3 months' time, you'll have 2 projects completed. Also, the Roddy Road widening between LA 935, which is Bayou Narcisse, and LA 621, which is Cantee. That clearing and grubbing project will have well, like I said, the contracts have been mailed to the contractor. Whenever it's signed by the contractor and the parish president, then I can have a pre-construction meeting and establish a notice to proceed for that project. And then what you've done tonight is approved for the construction of the intersection improvements at LA 73. In each case, it's going to add left turn lanes at that intersection, at those 3 intersections. So that's another one that will go through the process. So there's the possibility, just with normal time periods, of getting contracts mailed to the contractor and the parish president, and then having a notice to proceed meeting in 2 months. You know, it's a good chance of having 6 projects with dirt moving on the ground. You'll also see next on that sheet the next 7 projects that are you know, in the works. So where those projects too, you know, it's anticipated that that should be done shortly after that time period. And I want to make sure I'm not misspeaking. Is it within the time frame to where these will be started this year, these other 7? Okay. So see, those other 7, and Jeff has been doing a great job of coordinating with utility companies to tell them which projects to do first and second, because, you know, utility companies are just like any other company. There's limited crews, so it's very important to give them directions on which projects to do first, second, and third, so that the projects that we have ready, have plans ready, and can have utilities out of the way to where we can let the construction projects. We want that process to be as efficient as possible. So just to give you this, you know, complete sheet here, you can see there's 7 projects that we're hoping to get going very soon. You can see there's also numerous projects where we're going to be assigning 2 design teams to put plans together. And then we also have numerous projects where we're doing right-of-way acquisitions.
Does anybody have any questions on the Move Ascension projects? Councilman Waxback.
Joey, and I apologize if this is stated before, but do we do anything to inform our constituents about when some of these things are starting? So I've had some questions about Roddy Road, when it's going to start, just so people are informed about, you know, when they should see these things happen, how they're going to be inconvenienced, how they can plan to get around it.
Right. We have our website that explains a lot of things about Move Ascension. We can make sure that that's updated on these key dates that, you know, we actually, I guess before it was all just, you know, projects to talk about, but now that we have dates, we can certainly do that. We have signs on these 2 particular projects, and we can continue to do that to the other projects that come up, because like the 3 projects on LA 73, the turn lane, certainly everybody that lives down Henry, Brown, and Oakland Road, you know, we want to get them the information prior to know what to expect, because these will be, you know, it's going to be an inconvenience for them. You know, certainly we're not going to block off their access. We're going to give them access all the time. But it's just, like you're alluding to, it's good for us to tell them what's coming before it gets there.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Cazzo.
Yes, I'm curious about the right-of-way acquisition on Seabro Road. And I have a follow-up question, please.
Okay. Do you have that information, John? I'm going to let Jeff talk about that.
Thank
I
you.
know Well, golly, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, I know just about all of the right-of-way acquisitions were done except for two on Seabro, and I've just been, working with Jeff for about a week and a half, and he informed me of one that had something that the parish need to get involved with. So me and our drainage engineer, Mr. Tom Pittman, met with the property owner, and we are doing, trying to follow the wishes of the property owner, Mr. Burke, that's over there. So we're hoping to respond, and actually it's going to be probably Jeff that's going to respond. We did our part of what we can do to secure that right-of-way parcel. And Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought that was one of only two that were remaining on Seabro.
That's, excuse me, good evening. That's correct. Seabro, all the right-of-way has been acquired except for Mr. Burke Sr. He owns two adjacent parcels, and he just wanted to have the drainage section address some issues with a side drain ditch, and that we're working together between Joey, myself, Ron, to help come up with a cross-section that he's comfortable with, and then he said that he'll sell amicably.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad
Yes.
you're working with
So
him.
then all Seabro will
encourage
be-
you to continue to do that,
Yes, ma'am.
particularly on that drainage issue and how it affects the widening of that roadway and how the widening of that roadway affects it.
Certainly.
So I have a follow-up question, if I may, and either of you could likely respond, because I think the public needs to understand, and I certainly may have misunderstood what was just said, but I understand that Highway 930 and Ashland Connector we're going to proceed to clearing and grubbing. So, and I thought I understood you to say, and in 90 days, that project will be complete. But I don't think I may have misheard, but I don't want the public to think that we're going to have asphalt on the road widened in 90 days.
No, that's just clearing and grubbing. So that, that is just to clear trees, move fences if necessary. That's all that involves. There's going to be a follow-up project. And the good thing about having a separate clearing and grubbing job to a construction project that'll be forthcoming is that you give the utility companies time to get in there and do the utility relocations under the new alignment. And whenever we do let a construction project, it'll be very attractive because you will have a clean slate to be able to construct the roadway. You will not have to wait. That's the goal, is that you will not have to wait for utility relocations in order to get moving on the contract. And now this is an ideal world, that you're not going to have any utilities in the way or any utility issues, but it gives it the best chance of, generally you strategically let the construction project whenever you anticipate all of those utilities to be out of the way. That's the goal, so that you can give that construction contractor a nice, clear project to work on. So you're right in that this project is strictly to clear the trees and any other thing that's in the way of the utility companies of doing their job.
So if, for the benefit of the public and the other gentleman here and myself, can you tell me, how long are we looking at on a project from clearing and grubbing to roadway construction? I mean, is there a ballpark? I mean, what would be a healthy, normal time so that we can have some idea in our head how far we are from getting these roads done?
I don't know, Jeff, if you have any, that would be based on the utilities, so.
That's correct. And as Joey mentioned, these utility companies, they have very limited crews. We have a lot of projects that we're acquiring right-of-way where, let's say, for a roundabout job, they could probably get in there, get it relocated, we can get under construction, whereas 930, like Roddy and other ones, are long, extended corridors. And corridors of that length of 1 3/4 miles could, you have 9 utilities and 2 pipelines on 930 specifically. I mean, that could take 6 to 9 months in itself just for utility relocations. That's if they had dedicated crews, or looking at what the parish's priorities are, if we took some of the projects that are ready to go, that maybe they could get in and get out and construction be going on, then we can move the utility companies to, let's say, a longer corridor stretch. But what we'll do is we'll lay out all of those projects that are ready for utilities to be relocated, and then sit with the administration, present recommendations to the council, and come up with the best ordering of how this should proceed.
Very good. I think that helps me. I know it helps these other gentlemen, and it certainly helps the public to understand that just, now, I also know this, I live with Finch Rose, and when you start, you're clearing grub, if this takes 2 years to come back, you're gonna clear and grub again, because the stuff starts growing back. So, it's important that we move at a pace, and we'll certainly be depending upon the administration to encourage these projects to move forward, particularly those that engage right away,
Correct.
and
that's-
those that have engaged utilities.
Yes, ma'am.
We can have some influence, I think, from the administration on how those utilities get moved. At least it would be my hope that we can.
I know one of the things that we've done early on is brought all of the utilities into a meeting. I remember we did that, it may have been a year and a half ago, but to give them an idea of where we're going, so they could start preparing for this, and they know what projects we have, what utilities they have, which projects they're going to specifically be needed on. So we're looking ahead on this.
One, like I said, I've only been on board here for a little while, but I know this parish has a utility meeting every month that, from what I understand, it has as good a participation as any parish in the area, and that all the utility companies generally bring a representative, and they discuss this very thing, all the projects, and it gives us an opportunity to tell them, which ones we want first, second, and third, and whatever. But one thing that Jeff has been doing that I've noticed, because he loaded me up on paperwork and spreadsheets and things like that. He does a great job of not waiting for that 1 month. He corresponds with them periodically, and that's several utilities that he corresponds with: the gas company, the power company, the water company, any of numerous communication companies, and the other thing that we all realize is that sometimes nobody will do anything until the power company puts the poles in the ground, so that the other utilities can work around it. I mean, sometimes there's a sequence that they all want to follow, and we try to make their jobs as easy as possible. So I just wanted to explain that part. One other thing that, Ms. Terry, that you mentioned is we don't want that gap between a clearing and grubbing project and a construction project to be big. To me, that's me and Jeff's job, is to make sure that gap is not too short, but not too big.
Thank you so much. I think that's so helpful to have all the explanation for our benefit and for the benefit of the listening public. Thank you.
Councilman Cagliari.
As a follow-up add-on to Councilman Wagasback, going notification-wise to the public constituents about projects when construction begins, traffic interruptions, I would just suggest, Martin McConnell has done a great job using our Facebook page to do those kinds of notifications, and also on AB 21, because there are some public announcements, public service announcements that go on there, so just recommendation.
Great idea. I'll make note of that.
Mr. President.
If y'all would like, we can do a presentation, have a traffic presentation of upcoming events, maybe on a quarterly basis, put it on Channel 21, alerting the public of where we're at and where we stand with each of those projects, if y'all like.
That'd be great.
Excellent idea.
Great idea.
Thank you.
Councilman Lambert.
Just, if we're still on department
Yeah.
report, Joe, we had an agreement with the school board with that parking lot off of Henderson Bayou. Have you heard anything, or are we getting started with this, or what's the next step?
I'm not familiar.
I'm
with
sorry,
that.
it might have been, this happened 3 or 4 months ago. Well, I'm trying to get that traffic off of Henderson Bar Road and, get a parking lot, inside of, the school area. Can you check into, we had an agreement, it was a,
Cooperative endeavor agreement.
Sure, yeah.
they were gonna supply the, material and we were gonna supply the, equipment, so, and I'd like the parish president to be on board with this and let him know about it also.
And that's for the school on Henderson Bayou?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Galvin.
I'm sure
Yeah.
the school board, Mr.
Either Chad or either,
Mr. Lynch, yeah.
yeah, one of the other
Okay.
ones. And the other thing I was looking at and noticing, I know our sign crews are doing the best they can do out there, but we have some, a lot of stuff being moved. Signs are down, some of them are laying in people's yards. Can you see if we can brush up on that too, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, one last thing. With the Ashland connector, that's going to construction, right? Not clearing and grubbing?
Correct. The clearing and grubbing was done in-house. And it's a nice, clean roadway. I mean, it's
Yes,
great
we're about to
construction.
actually start construction on that. I just want
Right.
to make sure the public
It is
understands.
construction.
That'll be wonderful. Yeah. Y'all, you can go on.
I wanted to make one more point. Chairman Lawler and I discussed, it's good for the general public and for us at the parish to make it clear what is a parish road and what is a state road. We have one road, and this is just a suggestion. We have one roadway that's called AP 929. Now, I used to work for DOTD, and whenever they see a number, the general public says, well, that's a state road, because all of the other state roads have a number. AP 929 used to be a state road before I was born, I think. You know, it was a long time ago. I would encourage you to come up with a name to AP 929, both legs of it. And now that we have what was formerly LA 930, in my opinion, it would be great if that was given a name and no longer a number. So that's just a
Is
suggestion.
that what we
I
adopted?
thought that was a great idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's something
great
we can
idea.
start working on. I know Joe and I were talking about this, and one of my pet peeves is when you get to an intersection and you don't change roads, but the road changes on you, and it gets really confusing for people. So if we can work on getting that consistency, and if there are any other examples that y'all are aware of, that we can work on that. But we'll maybe get to that at the next meeting. Yes, Councilman.
Aaron, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the other end of 930 called Daigle Road?
Yes.
Correct.
So would it be appropriate perhaps to just extend Daigle Road all the way so that we don't have, as Aaron pointed out, a change in the road name at an intersection?
That's exactly what we discussed. Yeah, it'd make it easy, and you already know what part of it is, and let's make it the same.
Yeah, that's something
Used to be
worth thinking
Melvin.
about.
So yeah, I think that's great, and you know, if y'all are aware, and anybody else in the council or in the public are aware of any other roads where you have that situation, I certainly don't know every single road in the parish, but we're looking to fixing that. Thank you, Joey. Good job.
So, one more question. So, Joe, if you could maybe do some history, a little history on 929, AP 929,
Okay.
and then get with us on some recommendations for a name, perhaps. I'd love to see these names have some historical significance.
Mason Road.
And he starts.
We don't have to name one like Aaron Lawler Boulevard.
I was thinking Lawler Lane, Mason Road. I mean, we can do
Well,
something.
technically, we could name 930 Terry James Road, but, since I ran my little self up and down that an awful lot as a child. But, you know, I think it's appropriate that it connect,
Absolutely.
that Daigle be Daigle all the way. And certainly, I'm willing to make a motion that we name AP 930 Daigle Road from its beginning to its end, and we could settle that one tonight.
Well, we have a motion to rename AP 929 to Daigle Road. Second. And we have a second by Councilman Cagnalotti. Any further discussion?
They tell me it's not just as simple as that.
No, it's not.
Probably not.
No, it's not.
No,
We tried.
I didn't catch everything that you were saying just now, but the addresses will need to change also. So, no, that will be
Post office.
a bit of a burden, but,
Good thought.
Let's table
Yeah,
that.
that's a real thought.
it
No,
may be
and-
something
and-
that
Let's
could,
table
I
that.
mean, I don't know, it might, maybe a conversation with the post office as to, maybe a grace period if they continue to mail down.
Is that a motion to,
Well,
can we transfer that to a motion to start working on that process?
absolutely. Thank
Okay.
you. I'm happy to do that.
Okay, that's now a motion to start working on the process of changing AP 929 to Daigle Road from one end to the other, which would be from Airline to,
Well, actually, 9:30 would be the one.
I-
that-
9:30.
yeah,
would
I'm
be-
sorry,
9:30.
9:30.
Right.
And that would stretch it from Airline
Airline,
all the way to Highway
42.
42. Okay. Do we have any further discussion? Any objections? None? Great project to start working on.
Now I'll tell y'all my other grandparents were Daigles. Just a coincidence.
Okay, we're still on the department report. Do we have any other additional on the department report? Okay.
Hey, Aaron, I have a question.
Councilman Wagasback.
Hey, Joey. Is there any update on the Babin Road bridge replacement?
Yes.
Okay.
The bridge itself, I did, well, I found that out just before I left the office. The concrete part of the bridge is complete. It still has guardrail to be put up, a lot of drainage structures around the bridge, but that is, it's actually a DOTD consultant that's
Right.
inspecting that project, and I think he still said, so with that, it's going to be about 4 weeks before it'll actually be open to traffic. But that's, that's where they are with the.
No, that's fine. I mean, there's a lot of people asking about it, so.
I know. Well, that's why I looked it up, but it's still even though the bridge itself is complete, it's still a few things and a few subcontractors, to coordinate with.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Ravelay.
I want to go over, if, just really fast, my portion of the report. The 2019 road program, we're wrapping up right now. There's, the only thing left on task one is Royal Palms, which we've had quite a few phone calls about, just due to the wet, cloudy weather. It's been kind of a mess, but I do want to mention that they should have it covered with asphalt before the end of the week. The only thing other than what Royal Palms that's still out underway is the roads listed in task 2. I do want to point out, I realized that I had a battle with Microsoft Word earlier, last week, and I realized that Word won. But, so those numbers, Bayou Trace is that number, the dollar amount is correct for Bayou Trace, but that was removed. So please disregard the other two. If you'd like, I can get the accurate numbers if y'all are interested. But the task 2 total is correct. So there's a, other than just a minor error, everything else is pretty accurate. We are also, both tasks for the pavement preservation project are out. They're steadily working on all the roads that have been tasked. I was telling Councilwoman Cazo that, unfortunately, the preservation material is a little bit weather fickle, fickle in regards to weather. If it's not warm enough, it doesn't cure right, or if it rains, it'll wash away. So they are applying it correctly. We don't want to rush them. So they'll be working on that. They're hoping to wrap everything up before summer. We're also in the planning process of 2020 road maintenance project. Should have it out to advertise, see, early next week. So hopefully by mid-March, we'll have a contract underway for it. And that's really all I have for my portion of the report. As always, we have the DOTD updated projects. I know Joey did a little bit of riding, or I don't know. I've attached the reports if y'all find it easier to look through the projects and ask questions as they come up. I'm fine with that. Did you?
Yeah, I was taking a look at the Highway 42 project. It's still anticipated completion date is still November 8th of 2020. The completion amount completed is 71.86% in a time elapse of 69.98%. And I can tell you, I drive it every day. They're making progress. It's rough at times, but they're making progress. No pain, no gain.
A lot of pain.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Lambert.
I'm trying to find it, Tasty. Y'all in Jefferson, off of Jefferson Highway in Highland. I think y'all doing you're rejuvenating the streets in there.
Oh, I can, where's it? The subdivision's name is? Sorry.
It's off of Jefferson Highway. I would just want to let you know, I mean, it would be good that, I mean, it's a very good job. Limited, tearing up any utilities, mailboxes. I mean, I want to give a real good hand to, our road department because, it's limited. I mean, you're not shutting the road down. I mean, they're doing a real good job with it. Just trying to find it. I know it was a few weeks ago I was in there and it's really looking good. It's right across from Jefferson Crossing on Jefferson Highway.
Jefferson Hills.
Gosh,
Jefferson Hills, I believe it is.
I think that is-
Jefferson Oaks, yeah.
Jefferson Oaks.
that is it, that's it.
Yeah, Jefferson Oaks.
Yeah, when we have the optimal weather, it is a very quick moving. They're able to put it down with very minimal effort. And I actually included a little bit of a fact sheet on the back, in the back of your attachment that shows the cost of road maintenance a year, both using pavement preservation applications and going without it, what it costs us to maintain, and then also the value of our asset altogether, as well as the life it adds on to pavement. So it's the last couple of sheets in your pavement preservation attachment, if y'all want to take a look at it. It is interesting. It shows, it breaks down when you should apply what applications and how much life it adds onto each road, and the cost savings. So it's good information.
Yeah, basically, so the public can see, or, I can hold this up, but it won't help. But with no preservation, it would cost about $500,000 from year zero to do a mill patch overlay. That costs about $250,000 for 1 mile. And if you do nothing else, by year 14, you have to redo that. So that's another $250,000. So that's a $500,000 cost total. Whereas if you apply preservation after that initial mill patch overlay, at year 14, your total cost is $323,000 for that 1 mile, but you end up with a road that's in great shape.
Right.
And for a cost savings of approximately $174,000, which will allow us to use that money somewhere else. Stacey, I have a question on, I want to make sure I have the street name right. Oh, let's see, this thing isn't working now. On Ocean View, You know, I think it's Manchac, you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. I know we had some issues with Ascension Water getting in there and maybe doing some scoping. Where do we stand on that? It was a sinkhole.
I know exactly where you're talking about, and I know that, I had some discussions with our pavement management group about possibly having the line cameraed, to see if they could identify any leaks. Judging on the way it looks, I'd be shocked if it wasn't a leak, excuse me. If you don't mind, can I check with them to see if they planned that?
Absolutely.
And I'll get back with you, and I'll, shoot you an email tomorrow if that's okay.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Do we have any questions on the DOTD project updates? Or on the pavement preservation? I'll tell you what I'd like to do. I'm gonna go over there. Maybe John can help me. I'll put this under the projector so the public can see this.
Here, I can come on.
Oh, here you go. I don't know how to work that thing, so it's probably best you do it.
Focus, focus.
My eyes are bad, so I don't know if it's my eyes or.
It's kinda
Yeah,
clear.
see that or
Clear-ish.
No, not quite clear.
no? No? How do I,
Keep going.
I think he's.
this?
Oh, here comes the man, the myth, the legend.
Okay. No, come. You.
I just don't think our monitors
I'm
are
trying
in
to.
HD.
Oh, he's trying to show the call.
There we go.
There we go. Whoa.
Yeah. I get it all?
That
That looks
was
great.
pretty good.
That's much better, thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
That way everybody at home knows what we're talking about in cost savings and why this pavement preservation plan is so important, saving us money. They can go to other projects, that's good. Okay, do we have anything else on the department report? Any other questions? Councilwoman Cazzo?
Yeah, I'd just like to point out, too, that when you start projecting this cost out 14 years and talking about current numbers, it's probably a lot more savings than that, because we don't have, I don't detect a built-in inflator
Yes.
in this over for the cost of roadway work in 15 years. It's likely a significant saving.
Good point. Okay, then I'll move on to item number 10. Approval to present to the full council an ordinance allowing the office of the parish of the president to purchase or otherwise acquire parcels, right-of-way, and/or servitude for the Roddy Road at Church Point Road roundabout.
So move.
We have a
Second.
motion and a second. Any discussion? Any objections? None? So moved. Item number 11, excuse me. Change order number TO-1, 2019 asphalt reconstruction and overlay, task 1.
I wanted to make a correction, if I can. The agenda number is, there's a little bit of a clerical error. It should be TO-01-01. And this is for the emergency repair of Calais Road, which occurred late last year under the previous administration. Our contractors were out on Bordeaux trying to finish up reconstruction, and on top of a badly failed base that we weren't aware of until the whole road pretty much started to fall apart. So we couldn't very well leave it in the manner, in the condition it was in. So the only way to repair it was to reconstruct the base and put new asphalt over it. So, and all in all, the amount shown, the $79,094.88, is really not much when you're looking at reconstruction of an entire road. So
Move,
I think we
Mr.
got
Chairman.
off well.
We have a motion by Councilman Lambert,
Second.
a second by Councilman Mason. Discussion? I will say it turned out fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
I was there
I would
in
agree.
and out of the construction, and I'll drive it
Much
every once in a
better.
while. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
People really appreciate it. Any objections? None, so moved. Item number 12, change order number MC-01, 2019 asphalt reconstruction and overlay, master contract.
This is the adjustment to our contract to do the geometric improvements at Bro Road and William Ficklin. This is what we approved these funds at this last drainage board.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion by Councilman Lambert.
Second.
And a second by Councilman Cagliotti. Any discussion? Any objections? None, so moved. Item number 13, adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second, so adjourned.